That's Kenny Lattimore. I'm Tavis Smiley. Glad to have you with us in this hour of our program. We're playing the best of Kenny Lattimore all day today because June is Black Music Month, and every day on this program in the month of June, we choose a different artist. All the genres we cover: R&B, hip-hop, soul, jazz, funk, blues, gospel. We do it all. Choose a different artist of the day, and today that artist is Kenny Lattimore. Why? Glad you asked, because Kenny's coming in studio in our third and final hour today with his wife, TV Judge Faith Jenkins. They got individually and collectively a number of projects they're working on, so we'll talk to Faith and Kenny Lattimore in our third and final hour when they join us in studio. So again, since he was coming in, why not play some of the best of Kenny Lattimore all 3 hours today? And we'll continue to do that. In this hour, though, a conversation as promised with Stefan Bradley. He is in studio to talk about his new book, If We Don't Get It, A People's History of Ferguson. Going through the book, reading the book, preparing for this conversation, I kept finding these touch points, these touchstones, these moments where I was wrestling with this notion of situating Ferguson in the present moment that we find ourselves in. Before I jump to that, let me just say, good to have you in studio. How are you today, sir?
Oh, I'm making out well. Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here, especially on Tupac's birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
you
June
got it.
16.
Yeah.
So no, it's a good time to be here with you, brother.
Yeah, we had his stepbrother, Mopreem Shakur, was in that very chair where you're sitting right now on Thursday. So last week, headed toward Tupac's birthday weekend, Mopreem came in studio. We had a great time with him last Thursday. So today we played Tupac all Thursday. I would have done it today on his birthday. We did him all day on Thursday because Mopreem was coming in studio. So today is Kenny Lattimore. We honored Tupac last week. That said, to my point, I've been wrestling with this notion of how we situate Ferguson, and you'll take my point, the Fergusons heretofore in this present American moment, particularly given all these No Kings rallies we saw this weekend, the military parade on Trump's birthday. You're the expert. You're the author of the book. I want to ask you how you situate Ferguson in this present moment.
Well, thank you for the question. I think if we're going to talk about the Ferguson uprising, then we have to talk about it in terms of being ground zero. I think ground zero for a democracy movement, but ground zero for to my mind, the modern Black freedom movement. Part of the reason I say this is what we saw in the Ferguson uprising was the power of the state and the willingness of the state to impart violence on people who resist. So in Ferguson, the issue was the death of Mike Brown and laying the young man down on the ground for 4.5 hours in the Canfield Green apartment complex, and punishing Black people for grieving out loud, for mourning out loud, sicking dogs on people. There was no reason for the Ferguson Police Department to react in the way that it did. So you wanted to know, how does it play with the current events? Well, the way that the people mobilized in response to the police speaks volumes about what's happening. So what we had happen, and I was on the ground there. I was the director of African American Studies at St. Louis University at the time. And my students were first on the ground. They organized these young people, and they were so much smarter than a lot of the professional class. The professional class said, "Oh, it's so terrible what's happened to the young man," but the young people took to the streets and said, "If we don't get it, then we'll shut it down." And this set the stage, to my mind, for the George Floyd protests and Breonna Taylor and what's happening right now. So what you'll see is the ability of the state to spin narratives, and that's precisely what happened in Ferguson at the time. That you were wrong for protesting, you were wrong for saying anything about you killing one of our unarmed young people.
It's going to be a great hour. He's already given me a lot to unpack. This notion of the state spinning narratives. They did it then. They're still doing it now. We'll talk about that in this hour. He sees Ferguson as ground zero of what we're witnessing right now. We'll unpack that notion of what it meant for Ferguson to have been ground zero. We'll talk about that notion of punishing Black folk for grieving out loud. He's dropping bars already. Speaking of Tupac, you dropping bars. Punishing Black folk for grieving out loud. And then I certainly want to wrestle with this notion he raises up a modern black freedom movement. I'm not sure we're quite there yet. I want to press on that. My sense is you start with a moment. That moment builds momentum, and that momentum, if you're fortunate, turns into a movement. As a longtime professor, you know that movements are very rare in our society. I'm not saying it's wrong. I just want to wrestle with this notion of whether or not we really are witnessing a movement in real time. Let's talk about with Stefan Bradley, author of the new book, If We Don't Get It, A People's History of Ferguson. Delighted to have him in studio right now on Tavis Smiley.
Interrogating and unpacking. That's what we do around here. You're listening to Tavis Smiley.
Oh, these polymers aren't as flexible as batch K3.
Researcher Laurie is stretched thin.
Did you get the vulcanization analytics from V66? Oh, wait, are these rubber scores from last week?
She needs to hire new lab technicians so she can bounce back into her old self.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our matching platform lets you spend less time searching and more time connecting with candidates. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Make a move into a home of your own. With City National Bank's Ladder Up Home Loan Grant, you could receive up to $20,000 that you never need to pay back. Use it toward your down payment, save on closing costs, or to buy down your mortgage rate. Find out more at cnb.com/ladderuphome. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Property must be in a qualifying market in California, New York, or New Jersey. Additional terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Terms are subject to change without notice. City National Bank is an equal housing lender. Member FDIC. NMLS number 536994.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes.
Founded in Los Angeles in 1986, litigation powerhouse Quinn Emanuel has deep roots in the Los Angeles community. Since 2007, we have litigated some of the largest fires on the West Coast. We are proud to be the only AmLaw 100 firm in the country to represent wildfire victims, giving affected individuals, families, and businesses the same focus and individualized attention we devote to our Fortune 500 clients. BTI Consulting has repeatedly recognized Quinn Emanuel as among the 4 law firms in-house counsel least liked to oppose in any litigation, and we are often deemed the most feared. And after securing over $80 billion for our clients in various matters firm-wide, we understand why. If you have been affected by the recent wildfires in Altadena and the Palisades and would like to discuss your situation further, please contact wildfire support at QuinnEmanuel.com or call us at 213-443-3050. Quinn Emanuel is proud to sponsor Conversation Live Altadena Rising with James Farr on KBLA Talk 1580.
Attorney advertising. Prior results do not guarantee future outcomes. Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
LA's newest soul food restaurant is getting spectacular reviews.
Great place with amazing food. The Sunday champagne brunch is fabulous. I saw the place on IG. We tried it for lunch. We were blown away by the food and the service. The restaurant has an inviting atmosphere and a dynamic vibe.
Over the years, Lionel has catered most major black events in Los Angeles, including all of our KBLA Talk 1580 gatherings. But now he has his own spot, Lionel's Soul Food Cuisine, and you need to check it out at 8501 South Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles. Oxtails, baked or fried chicken, meatloaf, turkey chops, pork chops, catfish, short ribs, and all the fixins. Collard greens, mac and cheese, yams, red beans, black-eyed peas, and more. And of course, hot water cornbread, satisfying drinks, and delicious desserts. Lionel's is a great place for brunch, lunch, or dinner. If it's good enough for us, it's good enough for you, because we've got your black. So, head on over to Lionel's Soul Food Cuisine at 8501 South Vermont Avenue in Los Angeles and tell Lionel you heard about it on KBLA Talk 1580.
freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Kenny Lattimore joins us live in the studio with his bride, TV judge Faith Jenkins. We'll do that in our third hour today. But we're playing the best of Kenny Lattimore all 3 hours of today's program as we continue our celebration of June as Black Music Month. Delighted to have Stefan Bradley, Professor Stefan Bradley, in studio in this hour. His new book is called If We Don't Get It, A People's History of Ferguson. Why that title, If We Don't Get It, A People's History of Ferguson?
Well, on the street, that was the constant refrain. If we don't get it, shut it down. And we spent nearly a year on the streets, shutting down streets. A lot of the young protesters, young organizers, shut down malls, shut down thoroughfares and shopping centers, these kinds of places. To make people feel uncomfortable, to disrupt, to bring attention to the idea that American freedoms were at stake, and they were, to my mind, rescuing American democracy.
Yeah. Speaking of rescuing American democracy, there are so many great MLK clips I could play. King is my guy, and this audience knows that I regard Dr. King. It's just my assessment. I regard him as the greatest American this country's ever produced. That's me. I could debate you on a lot of other people, but to my mind, again, as this audience knows, I regard MLK as the greatest American this country's ever produced. Of the 23, 24 books I've written, my favorite is still Death of a King, about the last year of his life. I love that book, and just had time researching and prepping to write that particular text. But here's King talking about protest in America.
But somewhere I read of the freedom of assembly. Somewhere I read of the freedom of speech. Somewhere I read of the freedom of press. Somewhere I read that the greatness of America is the right to protest far right.
I guess the question is that still true? Is the greatness of America still the right to protest for right?
You came out punching hard, I see.
Yeah.
Well, I think at this moment it's in great challenge.
Yeah.
I think this idea of resistance for this administration is something that's to be put down. It's so, what do they call it? Cognitive dissonance. So you start a whole nation with this idea of protest.
The Boston Tea Party.
Yeah, the whole nine. Yeah, we'll dump all your tea in the bay. Like,
that's it.
You know, but this idea of who gets to protest is the question. So when it's working class, when it's poverty class people looking to protest, then we have to curtail it. We have to push it into certain areas. I was listening to my good fraternity brother, Dr. King, speak.
Oh, yeah.
And this idea of assembly. So I was speaking with you off air. There was a point in Ferguson where you had to keep moving. You couldn't stop for 5 seconds. So they called it a 5-second rule, where you could stop no longer than 5 seconds, or the police would arrest you for I don't know, whatever made up rule they had. This goes against the idea of assembly. This goes against the idea of democracy. It's not in the Constitution, but the young people were able to I was scared when the police officer with his 12 gauge come up to me and tell me that I got to keep moving after, talking with somebody that I had just seen for the first time in 15 years. But the young people, they were willing to confront police in a way that most of us weren't. And these young people deserve credit for that.
Yeah. So if you stand longer than 5 seconds, you go from being a protester to being a loiterer?
Yeah.
So now you're loitering.
Yeah.
If you stand longer than 5 seconds.
But you're making up rules as you go along.
Yeah.
But you can only do that to black people. You can only do that to poor and working class people.
Yeah.
And so this is not the same situation everywhere.
I want to give you time to unpack this. You raised this earlier. As I said earlier, I'm going to follow you. So you mentioned that Ferguson, to your mind, was ground zero for all that we are experiencing right now. Unpack that notion of Ferguson as ground zero.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ferguson, very much like a Montgomery, Alabama, with, no shade to Montgomery, but when you drive through Montgomery, it doesn't seem like this is the cradle of the civil rights movement. But all of the factors were there to create movement. So in Ferguson, you had a situation based on racial capitalism, the idea that you had these, what do you call it, like a pauper's prison kind of going on. So driving through Ferguson, they give tickets and they make most of their money from tickets. You have a situation where so few people are on the city council. The town is 2/3 black, but maybe 1 or 2 people is on the city council. 1 or 2 police officers on a police force of 50-some. So you have a situation like this. Mike Brown attended an unaccredited high school. So all of this is the kindling for this particular fire. St. Louis hadn't had an uprising like Chicago did, like so many other places did, and people thought that maybe the people in St. Louis were more docile or whatever it was. But ground zero, in the sense that the confrontation between the United States and the people took place there, and the ability of the people to organize and mobilize was on full display, and it was beautiful to watch, Brother Tavis, really.
When you say beautiful to watch, unpack that for me.
Well, so I'm going to try to explain it to you the best I can. So we'll start with mobilization. Right. So getting people to the street in the first place was something. So when you tell the story of the Ferguson uprising, you start with the grandmamas and the mamas, because those were the first people to hit the street because they were worried about their young sons and daughters. They were worried that they would get killed like Mike Brown. And then to come protect the mamas and the grandmamas, it was what America calls the thugs, the boys with the dread heads and the neck tattoos and their unmentionable showing, and the women with the colored hair. They were the first ones out on the street to protect people. So when the dogs came, when they sicked the dogs on the people, that's when the confrontations started. So when we're on the street, I'm not a day one, I'm a day two kind of person. But when I hit the street, I was marching next to a grandma who was well into her, 60s, 70s, and she had tears in her eyes talking about, I thought we took care of this. I thought we did all of this in the past so you wouldn't have to. She was walking with her 5-year-old, and on the other side of me was a young person. He was a street dude. And we're all marching the same way. We're all saying the same thing. That was electric. So that was the mobilization phase, I think. And then from there, they got to the organization phase and the implementation phases, which were outstanding and impressive for these young people who had never been part of any kind of social or political movements before.
Yeah. If we see Ferguson as ground zero, and if we believe, as you argue in the book, that Ferguson sparked a grassroots movement for democracy. If we believe that, no naivete in asking this question, if we believe that Ferguson did all of that, then why have we seen all that we have seen since Ferguson?
Yeah. Well, so
is it just in America's DNA?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, precisely. So the idea is this, that you can't have the people rising up. So America doesn't do revolution, doesn't do resistance, not since the war for independence. America doesn't do that. And so America has spent a good deal of time repressing black movement. And so you study King, you know quite well what all went into suppressing King and suppressing the movements that he advocated. So you're wondering why hasn't everything been solved since then? Well, it's one step forward, two steps back. So, and America will pay for it. So, you have a situation where finally these young people and others head to the streets, and you end this kind of fining system, and you end the idea that these municipalities can't be making all this money from people from these tickets and that kind of thing. All right, cool, sounds good. However, that doesn't change some of the structural issues that affect Black America, some of these poverty issues, some of these mass incarceration issues. So you're going back and forth. And today, what we see with No Kings, what we see with all of these different kinds of campaigns going on, they're using the same tactics that the people in Ferguson use. Yeah. And on the other side of that coin, the police and the state itself are using tactics that they learned and tested in Ferguson.
Yeah. Miles, I want to play that No Kings clip here. There were all kinds of rallies across the country, literally from California to the Carolinas. I mentioned earlier a New York Times piece I read that put the number at above 2,000. There were more than 2,000 rallies all across the country, these No Kings rallies, as Donald Trump had his military parade on his birthday, his 79th birthday. I keep making that point because he was ageist when it came to Joe Biden, and now I want to remind him and the rest of us he's now 79, on the verge of 80, given his ageism. But this is some sound from rallies all across the country over the weekend.
We don't have kings, we don't have thrones. The power belongs to the people, and the country belongs to the people. We want to make it clear that the flag belongs to the people of the United States as well. It does not belong to the president. It does not belong to the military. We also stand in opposition to the parade in Washington, D.C.
I've been opposed to fascism all my life, and I was a high school government teacher. And these people's kids would have failed my course, the people who support Trump. They don't understand anything about the fact that we're all kings, not him.
There are a lot of people that don't agree with what's happening. And we want a kind world. We want to take care of each other, our siblings. We're all connected. People are hungry. People are hurting. We need that money in other places. How about funding education? How about feeding people? How about offering health care?
Trump is doing it just to make himself feel bigger and better, and to also threaten us. Like, to have the military go through the streets of our country, it feels like a threat to me. Like he's saying, don't speak up, don't stand out.
I am listening to that audio, and I'm thinking of the point that Stefan Bradley made earlier. I would put it this way: Ferguson as the on-ramp for these No Kings rallies. That's a fair assessment to your mind?
I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it. Absolutely, because it provides the pathway to this idea that we don't have to live like this. That when we get pinched, we should be able to say "ouch," and that's precisely what's going on right now. Is when people's rights are being violated, they should have a right to shout out about it. And this is on display, like you said, in 2,000 different areas. That's just this one issue, but it's going to continue and it's going to grow, and hopefully it works out. One of the best things about that clip that I heard was the idea about civics. Yeah. And Ferguson taught the best civics lesson to these young people who were leading. They learned about city managers. They learned about county prosecutors. They learned about who's going to be mayor of this and who's going to be mayor of that, who's in charge of traffic court. There's no other reason for them to learn about these things in such an interesting way until they confronted the state, the government.
We'll talk more about civics when we come forward, and I haven't forgotten. I'm working my way into this conversation about the modern Black freedom movement, as Professor Stefan Bradley put it. His book is called "If We Don't Get It: A People's History of Ferguson." We're trying to situate Ferguson in this grim moment of American history. We'll do more of that when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
For all the freedom-loving folk, this is Tavis Smiley.
I feel like freedom.
I'm Alexandria Ikamoni with BIN News Now.
Officials in Minnesota are providing more details on the arrest of the suspect in the killing of a Minnesota state lawmaker. Vance Bolter was captured alive after being seen on camera at a trail.
In the murders he committed, in the attempted murders, that he conducted that activity alone. We will be exploring if there are any broader network. We have not uncovered any of that at this time, but that will be part of our investigation.
Bolter is accused of killing state lawmaker Melissa Hortman and her husband. He's also accused of shooting and injuring Democratic Senator John Hoffman and his wife. One person is dead after a shooting during a No Kings rally in Utah on Saturday. Police say shots rang out near a federal building in Salt Lake City, where around 10,000 people were demonstrating peacefully. Bone Thugs and Harmony and 3 6 Mafia are hitting the road for a co-headlining tour. The Thuggish Ruggish Mafia tour kicks off August 21st. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at unbound.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
Fans going to Dodger Stadium tonight to see the Dodgers and San Diego will see something they have not seen in almost 2 years. Shohei Ohtani will be the Dodgers starting pitcher. Ohtani, a two-time MVP with the Angels, is making his first pitching appearance since August 23, 2023. Ohtani was prevented from pitching while recovering from major shoulder surgery in the fall of 2023. The Dodgers beat San Francisco Sunday 5-4. Ohtani was 3 for 3 at the plate and scored 2 runs. The Angels were swept in their 3-game series at Baltimore. They lost 11-2 on Sunday. The Angels start a 4-game series tonight in New York against the Yankees. The NBA Finals resume tonight with Game 5 in Oklahoma City. OKC and the Indiana Pacers are tied at 2-2 in the best of 7. TV ratings for the NBA Finals are down 20% from last year after 4 games. Tip-off time tonight is 5:30 on ABC. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Crohn's and Colitis Foundation has been at the forefront of inflammatory bowel disease research and care for over 50 years. Learn more about research, education, and support at Crohn'sColitisFoundation.org.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that part you need, ready to click perfectly into place for changes big and small. Loud or quiet, find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. You ready?
Somebody make some noise in this joint.
KBLA Talk 1580 celebrates its 4th anniversary this year on Juneteenth.
Here we go again.
Holla, holla. Hard to believe 4 years has gone by so fast.
Oh my God.
But here we are, still standing, still loving and serving our people as best we can.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
To celebrate our 4th anniversary, we have 4 big events, and you're invited to all of them.
She got a lot to say. Let's do this. Let's get it on.
On Wednesday, June 18th, we go live on C-SPAN for the 2nd consecutive year with our Climate Justice Plus Black Health Symposium. Tavis Smiley will moderate an all-star panel of thinkers and influencers as we continue our vitally important climate justice work.
Hey, Tavis Smiley, talk about.
On Thursday, June 19th, you're invited to join us as we celebrate Juneteenth and our 4th anniversary. There will be plenty of food, fun, great music, good vibes, and all of your favorite KBLA Talk 1580 hosts will be there.
Yeah, man.
Flip the beat.
On Saturday, June 21st, there are 2 big events you're invited to attend.
I can't wait to hear it.
This year, KBLA Talk 1580 continues its annual partnership with the Empowerment Congress for a community celebration and dialogue to educate, engage, and empower. This year's theme is resilience in the face of chaos.
Can't wait to see what's up next.
Y'all ain't ready for this.
And new this year is our State of Black Women in Los Angeles Symposium, moderated by Dominique DePrima, with a luncheon to follow. Dominique will be leading a dialogue with some of the most impactful Black women leaders in Los Angeles, and you're invited to join.
This is it.
All of these events are free, but seating is limited, so you must register in advance at our KBLA1580.com website, where you can find all the details you need about each event.
Check it out.
It's our 4th anniversary, and we would love to celebrate it with you.
I love you guys so much. There's nothing you can do about it.
We're KBLA Talk 1580.
The only black talk radio station west of the Mississippi.
Thank you for having our black.
Happy anniversary, KBLA.
Love you. Love you.
Sometimes he fails at fitting in,
But we're okay with that.
You're inside the Tavis Smiley Show.
Some say love's complicated. Some say love wants too much. But when you find that someone, too much is never enough. 'Cause every joy my heart has ever dreamed of has come from loving you.
It's the smooth stylings of Kenny Lattimore, a track called Heaven and Earth. Kenny joins us live in studio with his bride, TV judge Faith Jenkins. We welcome them in studio in our 3rd and final hour today. We are pleased to have in studio right now, though, Professor Stefan Bradley. His new book is called If We Don't Get It, A People's History of Ferguson, and we're spending this hour trying to situate Ferguson in this present grim moment. We are wrestling with the night side of America, as I see it. And so we're trying to situate Ferguson. We have, I think, both established in this conversation that Ferguson may very well be ground zero, the on-ramp, as I put it. He called it ground zero. I called it the on-ramp to all the pushback we are seeing now, including these No Kings rallies this weekend. And so, again, delighted to have him in studio to celebrate the release of his new book. We were playing earlier some sound, Stefan, from these protests all across the country. And it seems to me, and I made this point before, so nothing new here, that Donald Trump is engaged in all of this misbehavior for one particular reason, and that is to quash dissent. You want to squash dissent. He does not like dissent, and that's what authoritarians do. You know, that's what they do. They make sure that there's no pushback to the agenda, the playbook that they are running. And when I said that to Stefan during the break, he concurred with me, but then went on to say that he thought that Trump was doing a pretty brilliant job of it. Unpack that brilliant job phrase, if you will.
Yeah. No, it's nothing that I like.
Yeah, sure.
It's nothing I like. But I called it a full court press.
Yeah.
So he has captured, of course, the legislative branch. So he has many sycophants in the House and in the Senate itself. Captured the courts in many ways. So the ruling that was made that allowed him to operate with impunity. I think in terms of mobilizing the state, so you can mobilize troops, you can mobilize, nationalize.
Federalize.
Federalize the National Guard. I think, but another element is the media. As well. So you have an entire segment of social media that it pushed for Trump, but other elements are unwilling to speak to this moment the way that they need to. You do a good job of it. Several others do a good job of it, but others seem to be afraid to make this approach and are even bowing down.
Yeah. how then do you read the phrase you used earlier, the state spinning narratives in real time? Since you mentioned the media, there are some of us who are doing our best to push back on the narratives that the state is in fact spinning in Trump 2.0. But what's your read of the way they're spinning these narratives and how successful they are being at spinning these narratives, if you believe they are?
Oh, sure. So, I mean, it's things, it's cultural things like we're going to reconsider having Medgar Evers' name on one of the Navy ships because Medgar Evers is black. Not for any other reason. Because of that. That at the local level. So I'm an educator at the local level. So for these what do you call it? School committees. You can do it that way. That we don't want to teach about anything that could make white children feel uncomfortable. Essentially, that's what they're saying. And so we won't teach about Rosa Parks or Angela Davis, for that matter. We won't do those kinds of things. So there's a narrative that goes on that protest is bad, that resistance is bad, that it's un-American, and that you need to get in line. Thankfully, as was the case in Ferguson, you have some people who had spent their lives not believing that authority was always right, and they were willing to sacrifice themselves so that people in the professional class, such as me and other people, could. Well, I'll put it to you this way. They were tree shakers, and then the jelly makers came along and tried to do something with this to create movement. And I know we're going to get to that sooner or later. Yeah.
Let's get to it right now. Talk about that part and what Ferguson looks like today, these years later.
Well, I wish I could tell you that it was, a thriving metropolis, but if it takes I don't know, 75 years to make something one way, it's going to take a little while to undo and rebuild something. There are good people doing good things. There are still some of the organizers. I think about Tefo, Tori Russell, Brittany Farrell, Kayla Reed, so many other people that are organizing there and trying to make life better for people. But when we talk movement, and I love the challenge that you posed earlier, when we talk movement, you're right. There was a moment where people came together and mobilized.
And momentum was built. My frame is momentum, movement.
That's it. But I'd push back in the sense that these young people went from protest to politics. So many of these young people ended up running for office, believing in the democracy itself, believing in electoral politics, and went from politics to policy. And so you have these young people creating policies that affect the lives of the people they were protesting on behalf of earlier. And the kind of campaigning they do, they learn that on the street. Because of that, you got the first black woman mayor in St. Louis. Because of that, for good or bad, you end up getting Wesley Bell. You end up getting Cori Bush, who was ousted by or at least edged out by Wesley Bell. But you get so many other situations like that where people are coming around. Now, did they do it all right? And is it perfect? And do these young politicians always know what they're doing? No, they don't. But they should get a chance to mess it up. We took all this time messing it up.
Absolutely, yeah. My only pushback was that I sense that there is some momentum in this moment. I'm not sure we've quite achieved movement yet. Again, movements are very rare in our society. I'm just hoping that this momentum doesn't hit a wall that stops it or slows it. I'm just hoping that people don't continue to bend the knee, as you raised earlier, in ways that allows Trump to seem all powerful. So these rallies this weekend were, it was a beautiful thing to see. I joyed in watching these rallies all across the country. And yet I've been at this long enough to know that a rally is just a rally is just a rally.
Come on.
If the folk who are rallying don't do something after the rally.
That's it.
And so now, having said that, I totally concur with you. And I phrase it this way: it is a start.
Sure.
I'm glad to see these huge rallies that Bernie Sanders and AOC have been having, and now you see everyday people coming out at these No Kings rallies. So I think I think there's an awakening here.
Yeah.
There's an awakening.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if we're in the moment phase or in the momentum phase, but a movement will be afoot when we run these suckers out of town.
Yeah.
When we run them out of Washington. I mean, if we're going to talk about movement, I need to see some action on these midterms.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we're quite there yet. I don't know what that looks like. Does that make sense?
Well, no. There has to be a pain point.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's what it comes down to is there has to be a point where enough people feel enough pain that they're willing to react to it.
Yeah.
And so hopefully we'll see those from the working class, those who are not traditionally associated with movement making, come to the idea that we're being harmed by these threats to healthcare. We're being harmed by these threats to voting, to all of these different things. And so I think when that time happens, the road is set for it. I think. So.
And these predatory practices that you mentioned earlier that allow black folk in cities like Ferguson to get in trouble in the first place.
How about it?
These predatory practices continue unabated. And so, again, obviously, there's work to be done, and nobody's naive about that. I just hope that what we saw this weekend is the start of something big and not just a weekend.
Not a vibe.
Yeah, there you go. I like that better. Again, you're dropping bars. His book is called If We Don't Get It, A People's History of Ferguson. His name is Stefan Bradley, Professor Stefan Bradley. More with him when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
From Lamert Park with love, this is Tavis Smiley.
We asked seniors how to prevent Medicare scams.
My best advice, if you get a phone call, do not talk to the person. These people are well trained. Don't talk to them.
They don't know me. They're just trying to scam me.
Don't be fooled. Hang up. Just hang up.
Never give out your Medicare number.
They're going to get your number to put in a false claim.
If I get a call from someone, I don't pick up the phone. And should I pick up the phone and they ask for information, then I hang up.
How do you detect Medicare fraud?
Just like I check my credit card statements, I check my Medicare statements monthly.
Scammers can get a hold of your number, order medical devices through your account, and you're not even going to know about it if you don't look at your statement.
Check your statement every month.
If you get your statement and you see something that you know you did not have done, you report it.
Call your senior Medicare Patrol.
To report Medicare fraud, call the Senior Medicare Patrol at 855-613-7080.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text EQUAL to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text EQUAL to 321-321. That's EQUAL to 321-321.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
He's a paradigm pioneer and the top-rated African-American talk show host in the nation, according to Talkers Magazine. You're tapped in with Tavis Smiley right now.
Tavis Smiley and Stefan Bradley, professor and author of the new book, If We Don't Get It, A People's History of Ferguson. We played some audio of those of protesters at these No Kings protests all across the country this weekend. Again, in case you've just tuned in, I mentioned this earlier. The New York Times puts that number at above 2,000 protests that happened all across the country as Donald Trump was doing his military parade in Washington on his 79th birthday. But one of the persons on that in that audio that we played mentioned the notion of civics lessons. And you picked up on that theme. And let me just ask a broad question. I'll put you on the spot here. You're a professor. You can handle it. I wonder what this moment says to us about what we did or did not learn in those civics classes. Does that make sense? What's this moment say to us about what we did or did not learn in our civics classes? That we're allowing this to happen, that we're seeing this unfold in front of our eyes. I mean, all the examples that I could give and that you are obviously fully aware of. What does this moment say to us about what we were paying attention to or not in civics classes?
Yeah, well, so civics classes make perfect sense if you're trying to make citizens. Here's the thing: is many of these classes were revoked as we went forward in public education. So that's one part of it. But the second part of this is there's a difference between constitutional rights and effectual rights, and I don't think people talk about that.
Talk about it.
So here's the idea: is on paper it says that a president is not supposed to be able to make money off of being in the office. In effect, nobody is willing to challenge a president in that way. On the paper it says you're supposed to be able to assemble, like Dr. King said. Well, police show up with riot gear
and break up the assembly.
Yeah, armored personnel vehicles and dogs to break up the assembly. So there's a difference between these constitutional rights and in effect rights. And so the civics classes work well if you have people that are willing to accommodate the democratic notions. So now you have people who are perfectly happy allowing somebody to circumvent all of the constitutional notions, all of the constitutional dictates, and that's the problem. And so you have people who maybe they read the Constitution or didn't read the Constitution, but they know that there are things called human rights. And that people should be allowed to live within a certain kind of realm.
Now I raised that question only because that protester raised it first, but it jumped out at me because everything that we were taught in civics class that should not be happening is in fact happening.
And who can stop it?
Exactly. I made that point earlier. We were talking to Bobby Scott, the congressman. Donald Trump at least had some folk in his first term who were willing to eventually chin check him. As I said then, people wake up either because they see the light or they feel the heat. One of the two.
Come on.
Yeah, but they eventually woke up and started to challenge him. There is nobody in this administration who's going to do that.
Well, okay, let me take it one step further. There's nobody in that administration, but I'm wondering if there's anybody outside of that administration who can stop him. And what it requires is you have to be able to match energy. And so look, I'm on the radio right now, but I'm skinny. Look, you don't get to fight fair when you're skinny. Look, so right now the opposition is the skinny person, and they need to fight like their life depends on it.
Yeah, Donald Trump, has this way of giving people nicknames. You recall his nickname for Jeb Bush when he ran the first time. He called him low energy.
Low energy.
He said Jeb is low energy. We cannot be like Jeb Bush, y'all. We cannot be low energy in this moment. But that was Trump's nickname for because he had Lil Marco for his now Secretary of State. Lil Marco was Secretary of State, but he called Jeb Bush low energy. We cannot be Jeb Bush, y'all. We cannot be low energy in this moment, and that's why I was heartened to see those No Kings protests all across the country. Our remaining moments with Stefan Bradley when we come forward on Tavis Smiley.
Helping to stretch your moral and political imagination. This is Tavis Smiley.
If you're like me, 60 and retired, making ends meet, especially here at the supermarket and drugstore, is tough. I'm so blessed to have found benefitscheckup.org. It's a free and confidential website from the National Council on Aging that connected me to $1,200 a year in programs that help pay for food, medicine, utilities, and more. Maybe it can help you. benefitscheckup.org.
You know where you want to go in life, and City National Bank can help. City National knows the dedication it takes to build your vision for the future into a reality, and our team is here for you. We have a wide range of options to help, from personal savings accounts to interest-bearing money market savings accounts and more. all designed to help you get where you want to go. City National, here for every stage of the journey. Learn more at cnb.com. City National Bank is a subsidiary of Royal Bank of Canada. Member FDIC.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. If you need help getting your resume in order, finding job training, or landing a job, we've got 3 great options for you. First, the City of Los Angeles has WorkSource centers across the area offering free job support. The California Workforce Development Board can help you with everything from GED prep to vocational training at no cost to you. On the federal level, the Department of Labor's American Job Centers offer a full range of services for job seekers and businesses alike. Visit careeronestop.org, or for more info, just call California's Help Center or visit cwdb.ca.gov or call 916-657-1440. For the City of Los Angeles programs, go to ewd.lacity.gov or call 213-744-7300. All these services are free to help you get your next job. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Catch Prep is now enrolling for summer credit recovery in fall 2025. As South Los Angeles' top-performing high school in English, math, and college access, Catch Prep is welcoming all 9th through 12th graders to enroll now. Catch Prep offers a small, supportive, and safe learning environment to help all students succeed, so that all students feel valued, respected, and motivated to reach their full potential. For the past 20 years, Catch Prep has helped more students of color gain admission to top-tier universities, with our graduating seniors earning a total of $3 million in scholarships, more than any other school in Los Angeles. We are dedicated to helping all students turn your college dreams into reality. Catch Prep is now enrolling. Visit us online at catchhighschool.com or call 323-293-3917. Space is limited. Please enroll now for summer credit recovery and fall 2025. Call 323-293-3917 or enroll today at catchhighschool.com.
Freedom is an endless meeting. So let's get back to it with Tavis Smiley.
Tavis Smiley and Stefan Bradley, professor and author of the new book, If We Don't Get It, A People's History of Ferguson. Let me circle back to that in the 3 minutes I have left here. You mentioned these young people earlier. Talk to me about these young people as leaders and what they look like, the profile of them, and what we celebrate about them stepping up all those years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm so proud to have seen the diversity of leadership in the Ferguson Uprising. And these were young people. Some were queer, some were thugs, some were students, some were people who were homeless. There's somebody still in prison right now, Josh Williams, for participating in the protests. But they were able to do things and start thinking in terms of we. And I'm not speaking French, thinking in terms of the collective and the community in ways that I didn't know was possible at the time. And so they didn't do it all right. They had money problems. They had issues with homophobia. They had issues with patriarchy, all these different things, but they found a way to get over those things, to push in a direction. And that's an example. That's what we have to learn from. And so this leadership class didn't look like what we think a leader should look like in America.
Let me close with this. You mentioned this, you used this beautiful phrase earlier about black folk, and I would add in this moment black and brown and other folk being punished for grieving out loud. Just say a word about that in the last 60 seconds here.
Absolutely. I think this was one of the saddest times in America when you lose the life of a young person, somebody who could go on to who knows what they could have become. But you have to be quiet. You have to go in your corner and you have to act like it's okay to kill kids. Like, that's not the way it should be. And in this moment, it's not okay to kill democracy. And you shouldn't have to be quiet about it. And so grieving out loud is a right. And the fact that these people who were typically powerless decided to use their power of voice that means the world to me. And I think that's when the aliens come down, they'll study this in terms of human civilization.
Very quickly, are you hopeful about the future of this experiment in democracy, or you find it worrisome?
Worrisome.
Yeah.
Worrisome, and I'm not given to much optimism, and nobody's given me a reason to be optimistic about it. I think it's being snatched rather quickly, and so if we intend to do something about it, it has to be done in the next few minutes.
Well, thankfully, as you well know, there's a distinct difference between optimism and hope.
Sure.
So even we can't be optimistic.
Sure.
As black people, we always hold on to our hope.
You know that's right.
That's it. The book is called If We Don't Get It, A People's History of Ferguson. Its author is Stefan M. Bradley, who I've been honored to have had in studio in this hour. Thank you for your work, your witness, and for this conversation, sir.
Appreciate you, brother.
Glad to have you here. More of Tavis Smiley when we come forward.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Alexandria